Minatsuki, a town hidden in mist and secrets. Nestled among old cedar forests and looking out over the rough sea of Japan, it always seemed covered in a sad twilight. Naoya Kanzaki, a teenager troubled by a strange gift, got off the bus. The cool, damp air made him gasp. He felt uneasy, a tingling on the back of his neck. The town felt wrong, like a bad note in a scary song. He gripped his worn duffel bag, his knuckles white. His eyes, which looked much older than they should, scanned the broken-down bus stop and the crumbling buildings along the narrow street. He could already hear them, quiet whispers carried on the wind. Murmurs of the dead, their voices a creepy song of sadness and despair. Naoya tried to ignore them, to pretend they weren't real, but the dead wouldn't leave him alone. Their voices followed him everywhere, a constant reminder of his unwanted ability. This town, this Minatsuki, felt different. The whispers were louder here, stronger, as if the wall between life and death was thinner. He walked toward his grandfather's home, a big, scary Victorian mansion at the edge of town. The Kanzaki family's dark history hung heavy in the air, a promise of scary things to come. Naoya's gift was a curse. It started when he was a child, after a bad fever that almost killed him. He woke up hearing things no living person should, the voices of dead people, stuck between worlds. At first it was just whispers, quiet and unclear. Then the voices grew stronger, clearer, their words a scary flood he couldn't escape. They whispered secrets, confessed bad things, and relived their last moments in gruesome detail. It made him scared and withdrawn. His parents, unable to handle his disturbing ability, sent him to Minatsuki. He was to live with his grandfather, Dr. Hideyomi Kanzaki, a famous doctor who studied dead bodies and was strangely fascinated with death. Dr. Kanzaki's mansion was as cold and scary as the man himself. It smelled of chemicals and decay, the silence broken only by the creaking of floorboards and the sad ticking of grandfather clocks. The mansion also had a morgue, a place where dead bodies were prepared for burial. For Naoya, it was a nightmare come true. Dr. Hideyomi Kanzaki, a man of science with a scary ambition, saw his grandson's ability not as a curse but as a key to unlocking the secrets of death. He had spent his life trying to cheat death, to find a way to bring the dead back to life. His research was strange, almost creepy. He believed that by studying dead bodies, by understanding the echoes of their minds that stayed even after the body had died, he could learn how to bring people back to life. He saw Naoya as the perfect test subject, a living link to the world of the dead. The old doctor started doing experiments, trying to make Naoya's ability stronger, to make him a beacon for the voices of the dead. He exposed Naoya to different things, old rituals, experimental drugs, even drilling holes in his skull. Each experiment pushed Naoya further into darkness, the voices growing louder, stronger, threatening to swallow him whole. Without Naoya knowing, his grandfather's obsession had already led to terrifying results, hidden deep within the mansion. The whispers Naoya heard weren't just random echoes of dead people. They were being controlled, shaped by a force much older and more evil than Dr. Kanzaki could ever imagine. The morgue under the Kanzaki mansion was a place of chilling beauty and unspeakable horror. Rows of metal tables shone under the bright lights, each one holding a silent body. The air was thick with the smell of formaldehyde, a strong reminder that you can't fight death. Naoya was drawn to the morgue, pulled by the whispers coming from deep inside. The voices were clearer here, easier to understand, their pleas and threats echoing off the cold tile walls. He found his grandfather's journals, carefully kept records of his twisted experiments. The journals described horrible procedures, attempts to bring corpses back to life, to trap souls inside decaying bodies. But there were missing pieces, pages ripped out, whole sections blacked out. Something was missing, a crucial piece of the puzzle that Dr. Kanzaki had desperately tried to hide. One night, while exploring the deepest parts of the morgue, Naoya found a hidden room. Inside he found rows and rows of glass containers, each filled with a thick, glowing liquid. Floating inside these containers were not bodies but heads, their eyes wide with a mix of pain and eternal pleading. These were the true sources of the whispers, their minds preserved, their suffering powering a dark force within the mansion. Yui Hanazakura was a bright light in the darkness of Naoya's new life. A girl with bright eyes and a smile that could chase away the shadows, she saw past Naoya's fear and loneliness. She worked at a small tea shop near the mansion, a place where Naoya went to escape the whispers and his grandfather's increasingly strange behavior. Yui was drawn to Naoya, sensing a similar spirit in his haunted eyes. She listened patiently as he told her about his terrible gift and the secrets he'd found in the mansion. But Yui had secrets of her own, a connection to the Kanzaki family that was deeper than either of them could have imagined. One rainy afternoon, Yui disappeared. The only clue was a single white lily, placed on Naoya's usual table, its petals stained a dark, almost black red. Naoya felt a knot of dread in his stomach. He knew with a chilling certainty that Yui was gone, taken by the same force that whispered to him from beyond the grave. He swore he would find her, even if it meant facing the heart of the darkness that had taken over his family. As Naoya dug deeper into Yui's disappearance, the whispers got stronger, twisting into a chorus of pain and anger. The dead were restless, their voices no longer just whispering. They screamed now, their tormented cries echoing through the mansion, driving Naoya almost crazy. The mansion itself seemed to change and twist around him, the line between reality and nightmare blurring. Hallways stretched on forever, rooms changed shape, and shadows danced with a creepy life of their own. The mansion had become a reflection of Naoya's breaking mind, a physical form of his descent into madness. Through the noise, Naoya started to hear a single voice, colder and older than the others. It called to him, promising answers, offering a twisted kind of comfort in exchange for something much more precious than his sanity. The voice led him back to the hidden room, to the rows and rows of preserved heads. As he stepped inside, the room pulsed with a sickly green light, the air thick with the smell of decay and something else, something ancient and incredibly evil. In the middle of the room, surrounded by the silent screams of the trapped souls, stood a single container, bigger and fancier than the others. Inside, swirling in the glowing liquid, was a head. Its face was delicate, almost beautiful, but its eyes held an eternity of suffering and a never-ending hunger. This was the Whisperer, the being that had been controlling the dead, feeding off their pain, and using Naoya as its link to the living world. It spoke to Naoya, its voice a chilling whisper that seemed to crawl into his very soul. It promised Naoya power over life and death, the ability to silence the voices forever. All it wanted in return was his obedience, his willingness to become its body in the world of the living. Driven to the edge by grief and despair, Naoya was ready to give in. But then he saw it. A single white lily, held in the hand of the head inside the container. It was Yui. The Whisperer had taken her, trapped her essence within itself, using her to break Naoya's will. Naoya's despair turned into a cold rage. He would not be controlled. He would not let Yui become another one of the Whisperer's victims. A fight began. A battle of wills fought across the border of life and death. The Whisperer, sensing Naoya's new resolve, unleashed all of its power. The mansion groaned and buckled, the walls bleeding a thick black goo. The preserved heads screamed their eternal torment, their voices a deafening symphony of pain and rage. Naoya, fueled by a desperate love for Yui and a burning desire to break free from the curse that had haunted him his whole life, fought back. He found a strength inside himself he never knew he had. He confronted the Whisperer, his voice a roar of defiance against the entity's evil whispers. Their fight ended in a blinding flash of light and a deafening roar that shook the entire mansion. When the dust settled, Naoya lay slumped against a broken container, his body broken and his mind on the edge of oblivion. The Whisperer was gone, its control over the mansion broken, its essence scattered, but victory came at a terrible price. Yui was gone too, her essence consumed in the final battle. Naoya, his mind shattered, his body broken beyond repair, died from his wounds. The mansion, its dark purpose fulfilled, collapsed, burying Naoya and its secrets under tons of rubble. The world moved on. Minatsuki, forever scarred by the tragedy of the Kanzaki mansion, slowly began to heal. The whispers faded, the dead finally allowed to rest. But somewhere in a faraway city, a young man woke up in a hospital bed. He didn't remember who he was or how he got there. The doctors called it a miracle. They said he was lucky to be alive. The young man didn't feel lucky. He felt cold, empty, as if a part of him was missing. And when he looked in the mirror, he saw Naoya's eyes staring back at him, haunted, knowing. He may have escaped Minatsuki, but some wounds are deeper than memory. Some curses follow you forever. The dead, Naoya knew, were still out there, their voices whispering on the wind, and he could still hear them.